My first question will be to Ronan. Mr. Martinez, sir. In the P word, what were 3 challenges specific to working with puppets? And what inspired this particular story?
The challenges for the P word were getting the puppet, figuring out the logistics on how the puppet was going to work within the space. I did not know this, but we needed a platform. We needed to basically raise the actors, Megan, Rachelle, and SD Allen, on a piece of wood, a big piece of wood, that luckily Capital City Theater had that was available for us. So it kind of gave that illusion where they're all kind of on the same level field. Another challenge was just getting, oh, I have to use their voice again. Yeah. Okay. Hello? No.
Oh, there it is.
And then another challenge was having the actors be able to interact with the puppet. I would say we didn't get the puppet until literally like the week before it was starting, before we filmed. So that was like high anxiety because I didn't know if the puppets were going to be finished in time. So just waiting out the construction of the puppets. And then the thing that inspired it was just really I was on a date at the time, back in 2016. It was just a silly idea of having a puppet waiter. I love the puppet walk, where they kind of come in and do this, and, oh, you need anything, and then they kind of come out. And then later on that evening, I just had the idea of kind of like a social commentary, like puppets were the new protected class. So that's how I came up with the idea.
Great, thank you very much. My next question is for Mary Jane, actually. This was a fascinating story. You met this serial killer in 1974.
Yes.
Was it difficult for you to make this film, since it brought up some old memories, and what took you so long to write the story?
It was not difficult doing this film. I loved it. It was very healing for me. And working with Ronan was pretty amazing. He made us all laugh, and he got the best out of everyone. And what was the second part of the question?
When did you write the story? Did it take a while to write the story?
I wrote the story in 2015. I wrote it in 2015 because I was researching serial killers, and when I started doing that, Google sent me information on Ted Bundy, and I thought, oh, this guy, the guy that reminds me of the one that came to my house. I didn't want to know anything about him. He was too scary. So, but I thought, okay, it's been years, I'll check him out. So I checked him out on YouTube, and there was Chris Hagen walking in the court going to be executed.
Oh, wow.
So that's when I definitely knew it was him.
Wow.
And I really knew it was him when I noticed that he had a car with my MJ on it from Utah.
Wow.
So,
That was actually going to be my next question. When did you realize at first that that was the same person? But I think you just answered that question.
Yeah, good.
It's incredible. What do you hope viewers will take away from your story?
Well, I think that it's important for women to know that they can't just trust somebody they meet in a laundromat. I really thought that this guy, since he was doing his own laundry, didn't have a girlfriend, and that he was very clean and domestic and would make a perfect husband. But that was not the case.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Did anyone else? I don't want to hog the microphone. Does anyone have a question out in the audience for any of the guests?
Quick question. Megan, Rachelle, how did you get your voice like that?
I lost it the night before. So it kind of sounds like it kind of sounds like I smoke a pack a day, but I don't. I lost my voice the night before, and I called Ronan. I was like freaking out. She's like, "We'll be fine. We'll make it work." And so I just sat, kind of. Thank you. The whole time I had a throat coat and tea and spray, and the only talking I did were my lines. It wasn't on purpose.
How was it like playing as a serial killer?
Just another day in the office. Next question.
We should all get out of here.
What kind of car do you drive? It is just not a Volkswagen, right?
Oh, I just got a Civic hatchback.
Okay, all right, then we're cool.
Scary.
Nicolette. Hello, my dear.
Oh, hi.
Tell us about Ophelia from your point of view. Did you initially consider her a flawed human being, or specifically like a villainous person, or you know?
Like actual Ophelia?
Yeah. Well, what the difference is between the two?
Yeah.
Mainly the main character.
Ophelia, I mean, I couldn't relate to her as, you know, as a human being, just because I thought she was a little boring. I would not do what she would do, but that's okay. But I never once thought she was villainous. I felt for her and her fear and like, what the heck is going on? You know, who is this person in my house? This is terrifying. So I definitely related to her in that sense.
Stefan, how about your character? Did you find him insidious or benign, or was, I think at the end you're kind of redeemed there. So how did you feel about your character?
Well, before I answer, can I ask a follow-up for Nicolette? Did you relate or not relate to the part where you had sex over the corpse of your double and then moved her hair out of your...
I certainly can. I'm just kidding. Never mind. No. Thank God. I guess I wouldn't be here. Right? I wouldn't be here. What? I mean, which one are we talking about?
It's confusing.
Ophelia? Absolutely not, because I'm still here. New ex? Maybe.
Could I say something about that real quick?
Hey, we're all a team.
So, one thing that you have to be really wary of is in dress rehearsal making a joke. And as a joke, I said, hey, we should just have sex on top of the body. and then Roman just goes, it's in the movie. And I'm like, oh, whoops.
And I'm pretty sure that's how I was introduced to you.
Okay, yeah.
That was how we met.
You be careful how you mess around. All right, here we go, back to you, Stefan.
And then I hated him ever since. So.
Well, my character is just vanilla compared to all that. Mr. Frost, I think you see his arc played out during the movie. In the beginning, he's just looking for another mark, another customer. But then he realizes the gravity of it all, and it kind of comes crashing down on him. So I think you can see where he has his change of heart.
Very good. Yeah, I found myself wanting at the end, like, to see what happens to that character of Mr. Frost. Like, uh-oh, is he going to be followed on the way home? What's going to happen there? So, yeah.
And I just want to mention, I loved his character. His acting was phenomenal. Could I get a, like, amazing.
And Megan, you had a little double duty here. You were not only playing the spooky nurse type character there, but you also got to be a body double. So what was that like?
It was very, very fun. I had no idea what I was showing up to do when I came onto set. I knew I didn't have any lines, so I was just like, okay, cool, whatever's gonna happen, I'm gonna enjoy this. Little did I know how much enjoyment was going to happen at my expense. And, it was just kind of one of those things where, you just kind of got to roll with it. And I did, into a grave at the beach. I think there was, it's just like, oh, how's the script? I actually didn't read the script, and I should have. Yeah, that was fun. Thank you, guys.
Well, speaking from personal experience, as an actor, you just skip everything else and wait until your name shows up. That's what you look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very good. Anyone else have any questions out there? Oh, I'm coming, Nick. All right. Oh my Lord, I haven't ran since the pandemic.
You're doing amazing.
Great night, Roman. Awesome. Loved all three. I have a couple questions for John first. When you were preparing for your character, did it bring out any kind of like primal lusts you didn't know you had?
No, I mean, none of us knew what this was actually about until we got to callbacks. Like, we all found out about bonding, and I just was like, where's the popcorn? No, I bonded a little bit over at a shared experience where a guy that sat next to me in my history class freshman year actually murdered a kid in my Boy Scout troop and his parents, and then came back to school and finished out the rest of the school year. And that was, I think I related more to MJ than I did to the stranger. But I think just that he was like kind of buoyed and had that 50-yard stare. So I think that's mostly just kind of what I could relate to, was just that experience of seeing that guy.
It was cast perfectly. You did awesome. The next question for Bill. How many, two of them, how many voices do you know? And how long have you been doing it? It's just amazing, dude.
How many voices? I mean, I do a lot of characters. I do a lot of improv. I don't have a number. I couldn't tell you. And thank you. Was that the answer to the second question? What was the second question again?
How long have you?
How long? About 20 years. A while.
So as a follow-up there, Bill,
Hi.
Can you explain the illusion of like handling the plates? How you were achieving some of that? I don't know if that's this is a secret magician's trick.
There was a rod in the bottom of, well, I didn't actually handle the plates. There was a rod in the bottom of the tray that I believe somebody else had.
Yeah, I was squatting out there.
He's under the table like this.
Because I only have two hands, and I need a third one from time to time, if you know what I mean. And,
Whoa!
Yeah, I know. And that's why, thank you, Roman. That's all I got.
Very good, thank you. Going back to Flirting with the Devil, Madeline, can you tell us about your character, your journey through that character? Did you and Mary Jane do a lot of kind of back and forth and getting that feel for your character?
Yeah. So when I accepted the part, I guess I didn't realize how closely I'd get to work with Mary Jane, and I was really lucky because I got to spend a lot of time with her and learn about who she was. And what I looked for when I was talking with her and hanging out with her and, late nights, staying in her room or in her guest house, I was kind of searching for core traits that we shared so that I could connect with those while I was acting. And I found, a lot of similarities between us. We both have sort of a kindness and an optimism and innocence, which I think was really important for this part because her innocence and optimism is sort of what got her into that situation. So I really explored those parts of Mary Jane and myself to make that part happen.
Thank you.
Nice.
This is a question for Ophelia. Roman, what was your thought process for making Ophelia?
Roman or Ronan?
Roman, yes.
Yeah. The M. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What was the thought process? A breakup, essentially. I had the idea to do P word. I was like Cameron. I was going to get out of school. I was going to do P word, and then the breakup happened. And I was doing a sketch comedy show at the time. I was stage managing it that entire month, and Stefan was a part of it. Ty Boyce, Chad Hirsch-Sharp, Victoria Ward, and Megan Reed, who actually put the job posting out on Facebook. And anyways, I was thinking about them as characters. That's how I kind of write. Inspired by people around me. So I was writing the characters out in my head. I was thinking about Roland Frost. I was thinking about Stefan, because Stefan is such a nice, affable guy. And that's what I wanted that character to be, a nice, affable salesman. Kind of like that salesman in the movie The Game with Michael Douglas. I don't know if anybody's seen that.
Hell yeah.
And then you know, Megan, I was thinking of her as the lab attendant with cold eyes, and I was thinking about Victoria Ward as a new ex-clone, and I was thinking about Chad, Hurst, and Ty as dating coaches, and then Lance came into my mind as a dating coach. And it was really just the inspiration of watching those dating coaches and Get Your Ex Back that I wanted to satirize that. I wanted to make fun of these people who take advantage of these poor people in breakups. And make fun of all of that. Not make fun of the people in the breakups, but make fun of the dating coaches. And then just have a little science fiction magic in there. So that's kind of what the inspiration was for it. Yeah.
Follow-up?
Yes, and a follow-up for Ronan. I guess it's about your character. Did you kind of know what thought process Roman was thinking about, or were you just kind of like thrown into this and was like, all right, I guess I'll just go with it?
I didn't know the thought process that necessarily Roman thought. I knew what I thought about this person, and I distinctly remember that there was like a moment, weeks into the production, that I turned to Roman and I was just like, you know, this is the bad guy, right? Yeah. And he was like, oh, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, like he makes literally all the wrong decisions, or does not make any decisions, which is the wrong decision. The only person that effectively makes a good decision is actually Mr. Frost over here at the very end to shut everything down. So really, yeah, I took my own spin on it. Yeah, and so I think it was a little different than what Roman thought, like when writing it, probably.
Yeah.
But that's the way that I saw it.
Look, can I do a follow-up? Because essentially, that mean Cameron was me, pretty much, what I was feeling at the time. But what was interesting was that he did become a villain. He was a coward, and he was trying to manipulate somebody to get her back, and the joke was on him. His ex is dead, and he's waking up out of a tank. He doesn't even get the clone, you know? So he kind of got his just desserts, and it is kind of that be careful what you wish for scenario. Yeah.
This question is more so related to Flirting with the Devil, I think it was. So it's either for MJ or Roman, but I was wondering if either of you could speak to the collaborative process of how much was your story, how much was embellishment as part of the writing, or creative choices made for the narrative flow of the story.
I believe my story was a little bit boring until Roman got hold of it. And then he embellished and made things really interesting. But technically, the whole story really was what happened. The essence of the story was how I met Ted and what happened at the house. I was really scared to death and didn't think I was going to survive. And I had a hunch that the guy that I had at my house was the guy killing people, but I thought, no, impossible. He lives up in Washington. But this was Davis, California. So anyway, do you have something to add?
I would say I love collaborating with Mary Jane on this. I think the story just was very, it just pulled me in. She sent it to me, I read it, and I was like, I have to make a movie on this. What I added, I think, was just kind of the theatricality of it. You know, there was a clerk, but played so beautifully by Evan, we kind of upped it a little bit, a little sitcom-ish, the same thing with Dolores, you know, we made her kind of a little more like a sad housewife, you know, and then as well as Jackie, China, who, you know, we actually, the funny story is, we stuck her in at the last minute, literally. Mary Jane called me and says, Roman, I think we should add Jackie, my friend who I was in college with, to add her in the story. So I literally just sat on my bed on my laptop, wrote out a scene for 45 minutes, she got it all printed up, and it was at our callback audition, so it gave all the MJ actresses a chance to try out for Jackie as well. Did you want to add anything else?
Nope.
Hi, my name is Martin. I have a question for MJ. On Flirting with the Devil, there was a point to where...
Oh, okay.
There was a point where when you were flirting with him, you brought your dress down, before you asked him to leave, what was the switch? What was the moment that you knew that this wasn't a good situation, that you wanted him to go?
The minute he said, "I'm not leaving," I was horrified. I've never had anybody disobey me like that. So that was when the thought came in my head that this could be the killer, and I was scared to death.
Before you asked him to leave, is there something that kind of threw that feeling out there to like, okay,
No,
now I should
I
get...
thought I met the love of my life at the laundry. When I brought him home, it felt like hell. So it was heaven and hell in one night. And I am just so lucky to be alive.
It's a remarkable story. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
I have a question for Megan Rachelle, actually, as an actor. I don't know if I'll ever be put into this situation, but working with a puppet. I've heard, you know, kids and pets you don't want to work with, but how is working with a puppet? How is that interaction, treating that puppet like a real human? I mean, they are real humans. I'm not trying to say anything. Sorry, Mom. I learned my lesson.
Way to almost be a puppetess. Bill made it really easy. He's just so great. We had practiced puppets at rehearsal, and Roman has a very theater-based background, so we ran rehearsals a lot like a theater rehearsal instead of a film rehearsal, which was really fun. But it was kind of just, I put myself in the mindset of that's a character, so I just got the groove. And like I said, Bill has been at it for 20 years, so it wasn't like talking to a puppet at all. Every movement, every like looking back at you, it was like there was a person there.
Thank you very much. We are actually up against the clock, so I want to invite everyone. We are going to have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Thank you for being a part of this premiere of these 3 great short independent films. Please look forward to the future. Roman is, you know, producing some new stuff coming up in 22 and some really exciting things. If you haven't grabbed a poster, there are some left. Also, feel free to come up and get an autograph from anyone who, you know, might be willing to. I don't know if you brought your own pens, but and we want to thank the film, you know, the crew, the support, the producers, everyone that had a hand in putting this stuff together. So thank you all very much for coming out tonight.
I actually made that orgasm noise!